Hello guys, welcome back to TFD, coming back with another video. And it looks like Caitlin Clark really ain't got no ankle injury, man. For this one here, we gotta go all the way up to Indy. Let's get it. Let's go. Now listen, I told y'all from the jump I was gonna stay on top of this story and expose the truth because too many people are running around with these weak narratives. You got your little homeboy, the so-called insider, Scott Agnes, out here jumping on every platform saying, oh yeah, Caitlin Clark is still hurt, she's not coming back, she's not moving right. Bro, stop it. He swore up and down she's still dealing with an ankle issue, and that's the reason she's been taking it light. But here's the thing, I told y'all I had the receipts. I already reacted to that whole ankle bruise talk. He claimed she was battling this lingering bruise, and that's what was slowing her down. So I went and pulled up the info, man. A doctor literally broke this all the way down. This wasn't some random TikTok talk. This was a certified breakdown of what an ankle bone bruise really is, how long it takes to recover, and whether it's career-threatening or not. And the bottom line? It's not that big of a deal. Matter of fact, the doctor used Trae Young's ankle bone bruise as the example. Y'all know Trae. He's an NBA star who's had to play through injuries before. Same exact type of bruise they're trying to pin on Caitlin Clark. And guess what? That doctor explained clear as day that players can bounce back pretty quickly from this. It's not the kind of thing that's supposed to hold you out long-term unless somebody is stretching the truth. So here's where it gets wild. While Agnes and company are out here spinning stories, we got last night's game footage. And if you watched closely, Caitlin Clark was moving, cutting, running, pulling up, and attacking the basket like nothing ever happened. That didn't look like no player nursing some deep ankle bruise to me. That looked like a competitor who's fine and who's been misrepresented for clicks and narratives. At the end of the day, man, people are gonna talk. They're gonna throw smoke screens around Caitlin because she's the face of the league now. But when you see the actual evidence, it don't match the story. That ankle injury excuse? Yeah, I'm calling cap.
But let's listen.
Point guard Trae Young has been diagnosed with a bone bruise or contusion to his ankle. We saw him go down with a very severe sprain, but now that we have this diagnosis of a bone bruise on the MRI, I just wanted to quickly go over the differences between basic ankle sprains and when we also have the added diagnosis of a contusion or a bone bruise, which makes it much more severe. So as we see in that play, as we review it, we see Trae Young.
Now look, this is straight from Trae Young, y'all. Don't light up the comments acting like I made this up. I'm just here breaking down what he said, bone bruise. That's his word, not mine.
Stepping backwards in very freak accident, steps on the foot of the referee and unfortunately inverts his ankle. Invert means that the foot goes inward this way. So what happens during a basic ankle sprain is during those inversions, you get stretching of the structures on the outside part so the ankle ligaments can get stretched and sometimes torn. And then on the very severe ones, which we know happened to Trae Young, is you also get a contusion or a bone bruise. And what that means is not only are you getting stretching on the outside part of the ankle, but unfortunately, with all that force going inward, you get bumping up of the bone of the talus against the end of the tibia. So that's how that bone bruise occurs, is it's basically those two bones are colliding. And what the MRI picks up is you'll start to see increased signal or basically edema or increased fluid or really basically blood on that MRI, which confirms that they do have that ankle contusion or bone bruise. Usually when you have that contusion, you have bleeding of that joint into the joint. It causes increased swelling, and in orthopedics, when we have an increase of swelling, we're also going to have a decrease of the range of motion and decreased mobility. And so that's the concern, especially with a point guard like Trae Young, who relies on his quickness to get into the lane and penetrate. Is he going to have limited mobility of that ankle, and is he going to be ready to go for the next game? So it's really going to be on the athletic staff to do their best to see if they're able to limit the extent of the swelling and try to increase that range of motion back and see if Trae Young is able to return to the game. I think with that added diagnosis of the contusion or the bone bruise, it makes it much less likely that he would be able to be ready for the next game.
Now, you heard him say it clear as day, decrease in mobility, right? Decrease in mobility, stiffness, all that comes with it. Y'all heard exactly what he had to say. This is coming from Dr. David Abbasi, man. He's a doctor, he knows his stuff. Over on YouTube, he puts out these breakdown videos, really diving into these injuries and explaining what's going on behind the scenes. So, when he's saying decrease in mobility, that's not just some throwaway line. That means the joint isn't moving the way it should, it's restricted, and that affects everything: balance, explosiveness, even confidence on the floor. And the reason I bring this up is because when you got somebody like Dr. Abbasi giving that kind of breakdown, you can take it seriously. This isn't some fan theory, this is real medical perspective from somebody who's been covering this stuff for years. Now, we all know the story. Caitlin Clark supposedly dealing with this so-called bone bruise. And listen, I don't want to keep dragging this out, but come on. This was Caitlin last night at the game. Roll the clip. Y'all see her? Y'all watching the same thing I'm watching. Now, does that look like somebody hobbling around with a bone bruise? Nah, it don't. Not even close. Look at the way she's moving, look at the way she's carrying herself. Tell me that screams injury. It don't. And here's where it gets even crazier. Let's pull up the comments section real quick. Somebody wrote, "Scott Agnes, is there a third ankle? The dark side isn't aware of it. Man, Scotty boy, you got some explaining to do. Because if there's a third ankle somewhere, maybe that's the one that's hurt, cause Caitlin Clark sure don't look like she's in pain to me." I told y'all earlier, something about this whole thing just ain't adding up. And the more you see, the more you hear, the more you realize we might not be getting the full story here. I just don't believe they're gonna let Caitlin Clark back, man. And at this point, we gotta stop dancing around it. We gotta talk about the front office. Yeah, the front office. Reason being? I don't think they ever actually believed they'd beat Atlanta. So the mindset was, why risk her? Why push her? We're not gonna beat Atlanta, let alone make it to round 2, let alone sniff a championship. That's what they were thinking. And the thing is, nobody thought the Minnesota Lynx would be where they're at right now either. I didn't even see that coming. I had Minnesota blasting the sleeves off Phoenix Mercury, and y'all saw how that played out. This is where accountability comes in. The front office never once played the what-if factor. I get it, you want to protect Caitlin Clark's health. I understand that, I respect that. But if you've got a real shot, your best shot, for this young woman to finally get a major championship, you gotta take that chance. Because remember, Caitlin Clark hasn't won a national title, hasn't won a high school state title, hasn't grabbed that kind of crown yet. Outside of the Commissioner's Cup, which, by the way, she didn't even play in, this is it. This is the moment. And here's the kicker. You're sitting on arguably the best shooter the sport has ever seen, and you chose not to activate her. Years from now, people are gonna look back and talk about this decision. And if, God forbid, Caitlin never gets back to this position again and never wins that WNBA championship, this decision is gonna haunt her legacy. That blemish never goes away. Y'all hear me? Like, everybody wants to shrug it off now, but if this ends up being the one shot she had and the front office benched her, man, it's gonna look spooky as hell moving forward. Now back to the front office, because again, they didn't play the what-if factor. Clear as day. They never believed in it. And honestly, I don't believe Caitlin ever had an ankle injury to begin with. That's just my theory, that's my personal opinion. But I keep going back to that same clip, the day this story broke. I debunked it then, and I'll stand on it now, Scotty boy and all the noise around this, it just don't add up. I'm gonna play it again, bro. I gotta play it again because, for real, I feel like everybody losing sight of this moment. This right here is when it all supposedly happened. Look at the date, August 8th. Now tell me, are they lying? They lying. She not limping. She ain't limping at all this day. Look close, Caitlin Clark walking normal. No hesitation, no favoring that ankle, nothing. Hold up, wait a second. Now, we all heard the doctor, right? He said if it was really a bone bruise, mobility would be gone. That's his words. He said she wouldn't be able to move like that, she'd be in a boot, she'd be taped up, something. But what have we seen? We haven't seen Caitlin in no boot. We haven't even seen an ace bandage wrapped around that ankle. Not once. Come on now, men. Y'all really expect us to believe this? Caitlin Clark out here with that big bag, moving clean, moving normal? And y'all still pushing this ankle injury story. It's looking spooky. Real spooky. And again, this is August 8th. That's the same day y'all saying the injury happened. Same exact day. And if you go back, you'll see me reacting to it when the news first broke. I told y'all then, I said I thought it was BS. And now here we are, months later, and it's looking exactly how I called it. At the end of the day, man, I just want Caitlin Clark to get that ring. That's all I want. Because this is her golden opportunity to make history. Guys, get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Do y'all think this whole ankle injury thing was real, or do you think it was all smoke and mirrors?